There's a new upgrade in the market. Gemini 2.5 computer use model is out, and now it is also available in preview via the API, and it has the Gemini 2.5 Pro's capability to power agents that can interact with user interfaces. Now, what's new about this Gemini 2.5 computer use model? Once the user sends an initial task or a request, it takes the screenshot of that task and then add that with the previous context or the chat history and then sends that to the model. Once the model receives it, it's going to generate a response and give it to the computer environment, which is the client app or Chromium where you want the computer use to work. And after figuring out the action, it's going to go back to the environment again and trigger that action and then capture the latest environment state or screenshot and again use that screenshot and previous context to analyze the next step. So it is more like a iterative way of doing calculations and computer use. Also, we have a couple of demos by Google themselves, like a demo as you can see on your screen right now, Lux Pet Spa, where they're using the computer use to manage the store and book appointments. Now, in the next example provided by Google, you can see that we have tons of different brainstorming sticky notes. And what it is doing is it's dragging and dropping them in the right category one by one, which is quite mind blowing, I would say, to analyze the category of something by just reading the sticky note and then dragging and dropping that into that line or that portion of category. So those were just the demos. Now I want to talk about the benchmarks a little bit. So how it performed. So here's the benchmark performance of Gemini 2.5 computer use. And you can see that it's outperforming Claude Sonnet 4.5, Claude Sonnet 4, and OpenAI's computer using agent model. Also, when it comes to Web Voyager, which means that how well it is when it comes to browser use, you can see that is beating all the models out there. Claude or whether it's OpenAI's models is just ranking number one in the list. And it's not only the quality that has improved, it has also improved the latency. So it has the most reduced latency in comparison with all the other models in the same niche of computer use, like OpenAI's computer using model and Claude Sonnet 4.5. Now, that was a lot of theory, but the point of talking about the benchmarks and the demos was to clarify why this model is so hyped about or why this new model is really amazing and how is it number one on the list. So without further ado, let's dive right into the video. Hi and welcome back to the Skill Club. This is Hosham Rez and we're finally getting started with this video. So we have two different ways of assessing this new Gemini 2.5 computer use model. One is the browser way, where you go to Gemini browser. This is a free to use platform powered by BrowserBase and Stagehand. Also, you can actually go ahead and set up a local setup and run computer use via their API. I'm going to be showing you both ways, so stick till the end of the video and I hope you will get how to use it via browser and as well as how to set this up locally on your computer. So let's get started with Gemini browser first. So we have gemini.browserbase.com right here. And here you can test out Gemini's 2.5 computer use for free. Now the problem with Gemini browser is it has a limitation and it has some rate limiting. So you can only conduct a session of 5 minutes and you can only perform one task without registering. You might have to register with browser use if you want to use it for further tasks. And now that's why I was talking about setting this up locally so we can use it as much as we want and just pay for the API. So we'll get to that later on. But for now, I just want to do a very light testing because this video is not going to be about testing or its capabilities, but more like how you can access it and how you can try this out. So I'm just going to go ahead with this one, which is like get the latest crypto prices. So let's go ahead and get the latest crypto prices. So there you go. You can see that it has opened the web browser with the tool call and we have the session right here. As I've told you earlier, we have some rate limiting, which means I can only conduct a 5-minute sessions using BrowserBase. And you can see here that it has successfully opened a web browser. Current page is the Google search page. And now it's typing text at the search box right here. So that's the type text action and then it's clicking on it, the current price of Bitcoin and Ethereum. So we have the Bitcoin and the Ethereum cross price right here. So it was more of a conversion price. It went on to Coinbase to re-verify the prices, which is really great about it. And it gave us the actual price of. Another thing that is not here in Gemini browser is that it did not give me the final recording of the whole task as we have seen in browser use previously. But overall, the performance was quite good. It really used the Gemini 2.5 Pro capabilities and thinking to reevaluate the prices on Coinbase. Now let's move to the second way of accessing Gemini 2.5 computer use. It is pretty simple to use computer use locally, but you might trigger a couple of errors because you might not have the prerequisites installed. So I'm just going to guide you how you can set this up, and I'm going to show you. I have this set up on my local computer. So here you have to go to the API docs, where you have to go to the computer use section right here, and then you have to scroll all the way down to here where it says how to implement computer use, and what you need to do is install Playwright. So you just have to go ahead and copy this line right here, paste this inside your terminal. Also, you have to copy this Chromium line right here and just paste that inside your terminal. So this should install all the dependencies like Google Gen AI and Playwright. Also, another tip that I would give you as a pro is that use a virtual environment just for safety and security of your computer. I wouldn't recommend you to use this globally. Okay, so once you're done with this, all you have to do is just copy this part right here and just paste in your API key. So I have this code where what I do is I specify the computer use ID, which is the model name. Also, I have a fallback model, which is Gemini 2.5 Flash. This is only for self-test, and I specify the screen width and height. This is about the Chromium or the display, so you don't have to worry about this. The only thing that you have to worry about is the Google API key or the Gemini API, because you can pretty much get the Google API key and the Gemini API key for free. But what I found out is that Computer Use 2.5 is not available for free. So what you need to do is you need to go to the Google Cloud and you have to link a billing account with your API. Otherwise, you will not be able to use Gemini 2.5 computer use locally. So that's that. Okay, back to the code. Here's where you're going to paste in your prompts or the task that you want to do using computer use. Now, for those who do not know how to code, I have another alternative. And the alternative is to give the docs link right here as well as your API key and ask GPT that I have shared the link for the documentation to set up computer use by Gemini, and I have also pasted in the Gemini API key. Use that key and the docs to set up the code to run computer use locally on my computer. So this is an alternative for those who do not know how to code or who do not know how to self-use those docs. So this is a plus point and a prompt that I really want to show you guys. So you should better take a screenshot of this. Let's go back to our code and actually try to run this. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to go ahead and say Python and then the file name, which is computeruserunner.py. So let's just hit enter and there you go. It started the Chromium browser right here. But we ran into an error and the error says 429 resource exhausted, which means that I do not have the quota to use Gemini 2.5 because I did not attach a billing account with this API, and I have to do this, otherwise it will not work. But overall, that's the way of how you're gonna use Gemini 2.5 computer use locally on a computer. So with that said, I want to wrap this video up. I hope this video was helpful for you to understand what Gemini 2.5 computer use model is and how it's ranking number 1. Also, you get to know how you can access this via browser using Gemini BrowserBase or locally via the API, and how to set up the API billing as well. So with that said, I want to wrap this video up. I hope this video was helpful. If you found this video insightful, hit that like button. Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Ring the notification bell to never miss out on our daily updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next video. Till then, stay curious and keep exploring.